When we think of wildlife, we think about the beauty that they contribute to the world. When we go to the zoo, we are fascinated by how cute they are, but do we ever stop and think of the danger that some of these animals are in due to the carelessness of humans? Our wildlife is not only beautiful, but it serves a specific purpose to the ecosystem. Each animal has something special to contribute. If humans continue to be careless with their actions, then many of these animals will become extinct and their habitats will be destroyed. I want to inform you of the nonprofit organization that has made it their job to protect these animals and the small steps that you can make in your everyday life that will make a difference in wildlife preservation and encourage you to do the best you can to follow through with these steps. So many of the byproducts in our daily lives make their way via the air and water into the natural environment and become pollutants, harming wildlife and disrupting their habitats. Every day, the byproducts of our daily lives, hairspray, sewage, exhaust, trash, agricultural and lawn chemicals, industrial and power plant emissions, and more, make their way via the air and water into the natural environment and become pollutants, which greatly harm our wildlife. Scientists have calculated that there are about 2.5 trillion pieces of plastic floating in the ocean. A lot of this plastic is very small. Because of this, many marine life mistake it as food. Obviously, plastic is not digestible, so many of these animals lose their lives over something so preventable. Whales ingest many of the plastic floating in the ocean, and some whales have been found to have over 100 pounds of plastic in their stomachs. So not only is plastic harmful because it cannot be ingested, but it is also contains toxic chemicals from the manufacturing company, as well as pollutants that adhere to the surface of the plastic. These chemicals can leach into animals' tissues, possibly affecting the animal's ability to reproduce. So now that we have kind of an idea of the problem, we can look at some of the ways that will help improve. So there's many organizations that are dedicated to saving wildlife, and I will be focusing on one in particular. So the World Wildlife Fund is a nonprofit organization that focuses on preserving wildlife. They also provide education about endangered species, which is really helpful. According to their website, their mission is to conserve nature and reduce the most pressing threats to the diversity of life on Earth. They specialize in 6 areas: food, climate, freshwater, wildlife, forests, and oceans. The World Wildlife Fund focuses heavily on the protection of endangered species such as tigers, rhinos, and elephants. And their aim is actually to double the world's population of tigers by 2022. The World Wildlife Fund is also working to shut down the illegal ivory markets in Thailand and also help end the ivory trade in China. The World Wildlife Fund is also working around the world to improve overfishing and to reduce the catch of iconic marine life and eliminate illegal fishing. So now that we kind of see what the problem is, let's imagine ourselves in an alternate universe where none of these organizations exist and humans can do what they please with no regard to consequence. Many species will become extinct and ecosystems will suffer dramatically. And here are some of the ways that we can contribute to this change. You don't have to travel around the world to contribute. You can make small everyday lifestyle changes that will help tremendously. The World Wildlife Fund, the Global Wildlife Conservation, and the National Wildlife Fund all give opportunities to be a part of wildlife conservation through donations. It doesn't have to be a lot. $5 or $10 can really help. You can also buy shirts that represent these organizations, and that money goes towards helping wildlife preservation. Recycling is a small step that everyone can do. Recycling plastic is a big step that will prevent many of these water bottles, straws, plastic bags from ending up in our oceans and ending up in our wildlife, in our marine life. Try to be more responsible. Try to buy more biodegradable things that will break down in landfills versus plastic that won't. Even cultivating a small garden with flowers that attract honeybees is also another fun way to help out. And just don't litter, because no one likes anyone that litters. So I've given you kind of the different organizations that help preserve wildlife and what our main problem is, which is overfishing, poaching, littering, just abundance of plastic, and small steps that we can do to prevent this and to help preserve wildlife. So our wildlife is counting on us, and let's just do our best to help save their lives.